Bronx, and the latest on the search for a guy who viciously stabbed two people inside a laundromat, killing one of them. Video showing cops removing two meat cleavers from the scene. The violence rattling customers at the laundromat, who tells us that more needs to be done to keep the customers safe. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo live in the Claremont section, where the laundromat remains closed as cops continue to investigate. Anthony?
Well, Mike, that's right. The laundromat remains the center of a criminal investigation. Very active, by the way. We just saw a couple of detectives leave moments ago. This deadly stabbing is no doubt shocking, but apparently, from speaking with residents, it's only the latest incident of crime, quality of life concerns, and outright unruliness that plagues not only this business, but this intersection.
Like something straight out of a horror movie, police recovered two meat cleavers from the laundromat steps.
This intersection, when bad things have happened, they've happened here.
Police swarmed College Avenue and East 170th Street early Thursday morning after a man entered the 303 laundromat carrying shirts and then carrying out carnage. Police say he stabbed two men inside. The wild attack reinforcing concerns Davina already had.
Me as a female, I don't feel safe me washing my kids' clothes, washing my clothes, and me coming at night and there's a bunch of people that do drugs, sleeping, bent over. Like, nobody want to see those things,
Those things are happening right inside here.
Yeah, right inside, in the corner, everywhere.
Surveillance video appears to show at least one of the victims being removed from the laundromat on a stretcher at around 3 in the morning. Police say one man was stabbed in the legs, the torso, and the back. He died. The other was stabbed in the back but survived. The laundromat closed for the day, the inconvenience discouraging for customers.
They broke everything. I don't know what happened.
Police sources say the surviving victim told cops he's homeless and that he and his friend were sleeping inside the laundromat when the man attacked them, killing his friend. The devastating crime also exposing quality of life concerns that already existed.
The people inside, they sleep, coming sleeping. Tomorrow, Papa.
And right now, the motive is unclear. Why this man went on a stabbing rampage inside of the laundromat is unclear right now. Also part of this investigation, whether or not the suspect knew the victims or if this was random. Right now, police are looking for a man about 5'8", 140 pounds, last seen wearing a black and green shirt and a black and white hat.
Police are still searching for the suspect who fatally stabbed a man and injured another inside a Claremont, Bronx laundromat overnight. As Natalie Dudridge reports, police are still working on a motive.
A surveillance image shows the man police are looking for, his arms full of laundry. Beneath it, he's hiding a knife. Investigators say he used it to stab a man to his right, sleeping in a chair. Surveillance video shows first responders rush a man on a stretcher out of a laundromat on East 170th Street just before 3 a.m. Thursday, after police got a call saying there had been a double stabbing inside.
It's very concerning, honestly. This neighborhood used to be really nice.
Responding officers found a 47-year-old man with stab wounds to his back. He is now recovering at Lincoln Hospital in stable condition. They also found an unidentified man stabbed in the leg and torso. He was pronounced dead at Lincoln Hospital. His identity still pending. Police believe he was homeless.
I don't know the guy's name or nothing like that, but I would send my condolences.
Nearby residents say they often saw people sleeping on the floor of the laundromat overnight.
There's a lot of homeless on that laundry. They just sleep there.
Police sources say witnesses told them the suspect walked in, said nothing, then targeted the two men.
Officers are still searching for that suspect they describe as wearing a multicolored jacket.
I've seen before.
You've seen
when I was working.
We spoke to a staff member at the laundromat. She believes the suspect has come in before. Meanwhile, investigators are still combing the area for clues, recovering two meat cleavers from the scene.
It's a cold case more than a decade old. Snowbirds murdered in South Florida. The Canadian couple found dead in their Hallandale Beach condo. Here's crime specialist Bridget Matter with the clues to a crime.
For Rochelle Wise and Davis Pekoski, winters were spent in Hallandale Beach, summers in Canada. The couple, 72 and 66, had settled into their Venetian Park condo. On January 10, 2013, neighbors found their lifeless bodies. The two had been murdered. The medical examiner determined cause of death as asphyxiation. But who would want to kill the snowbird couple remains a mystery, even a decade later. 1 year after the murders, David's son, Mark, spoke to Local 10.
Our families have no closure, and it would be a great help if we can get this case solved.
Detectives say 2 women are responsible for the killings, but a motive has never been established.
So 10 years later, here are the clues police are working with, beginning with this surveillance video that was uncovered after the crime, showing a woman lingering outside the couple's condo on the day of the murder. Police took that video to create this composite sketch of the unidentified woman. Take a close look. Do you recognize her? Remember, police believe 2 women are responsible for the crime. Then there's this. It's a sneaker, an Adidas Nova, and police say it may belong to the killer. The shoe also makes a very unique imprint, another critical clue. And finally, there's this. Police discovered that Wise's wedding band was missing from the condo. Here's a picture of that platinum ring that holds 5 half-carat diamonds. It's valued at around $16,000 and has a unique clasp at the bottom. If any of these clues help jog your memory, or if you know anything you think might help police, they need your help solving this decade-old crime. Crime Stoppers is offering $10,000 for information that leads to an arrest, and as always, you can remain anonymous.
The man accused of killing a Canadian couple in their Pompano Beach home back in March was in court today. Local 10 News reporter Alex Finney is live in Fort Lauderdale with the plea entered today for the suspect. Alex.
Well, this was a terrifying crime that just rocked this small mobile home community in Pompano Beach. Today, 28-year-old Quentin Johnson entered a not guilty plea here in court in Fort Lauderdale.
A chained and shackled 28-year-old Quentin Johnson appeared before a judge today, charged with murder for the death of an elderly couple in their Pompano Beach home.
State's notice of intent to seek Mr. Johnson as a prison release reoffender, and state's notice of intent to declare him as a habitual felony offender.
The crime being described as gruesome. It happened at the couple's home at 770 Birdie Lane. Johnson is accused of beating 80-year-old Mark Gagney and 78-year-old Rita Gagney to death. Court affidavit BSO says during the robbery, victim Mark Gagney refused to give up his redacted, so Quentin Johnson punched and killed both victims. And then went on to say he did this by himself because when you do stuff like that, nobody can tell on you. This crime happened back in March. Johnson was arrested back in April and was already in jail for robbing a 67-year-old man at a Pompano Beach ATM just days after beating the Gagneys. Johnson posted videos on Facebook wearing the same sneakers he wore the night of the robbery. Neighbors in the Pompano Beach neighborhood where the crime happened relieved to know a dangerous man is no longer a danger anymore.
I was so happy they found who bludgeoned him because it was a sickening crime.
Such a horrible situation. Of course, that community there able to breathe just a little bit easier knowing that the man that's accused of this crime is now behind bars. As for Quentin Johnson, his next court appearance is scheduled for August 30th.
Family of a woman killed by her ex-boyfriend is fighting to keep him behind bars. Joshua Ellis was convicted of second-degree murder of Wendy Traynor after he admitted to shooting her in the head in her Milton apartment in 2017. He was supposed to spend more than 20 years in prison, but now there's a possibility his sentence could be cut in half because of an appeal and a resulting plea deal with prosecutors.
Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling talked to family members about tomorrow's hearing and why they're fighting his early release.
This is Wendy with the dark hair.
Family members remember Wendy Traynor as a bright young woman with a kind heart.
Bubbly, happy, giggly, always, there to help, loving. She was just very sweet.
If she were still alive, her Aunt Sherry says she'd be spending the holidays cooking and shopping with the family and making memories with her cousins, all of whom she was close with growing up.
We always stacked them with matching pajamas on my mom's staircase, so cute.
In 2017, her father and uncle went to check on her in her apartment and found her face down, dead from a gunshot wound to the back of the head. Her ex-boyfriend, Joshua Ellis, ultimately was charged with shooting and killing her after she tried to leave him.
She had started dinner. He came in there, and all that we know is he said that it was self-defense. She was shot in the back of the head, point blank. He left her there in a pool of blood for a week.
Ellis was convicted and sentenced to around 23 years. However, the family was shocked to learn there was an appeal.
They're trying to say that it was because of a racial comment made during voir dire, which is just picking out the jury. It's not, the trial hasn't started or anything.
Sherry says prosecutors then announced a plea deal with the defense with a resentencing date set December 1st.
They wanted to, cut back his sentence and let him out in 2 years. That's only serving 8 years for shooting someone in the back of the head, leaving them dead for a week, and running away.
Sherry says they must again relive the trauma in court, as they will have to try to convince the judge not to accept the deal.
The family has to go do their speeches all again. It's just such a hurtful thing.
The family's asking members of the community to show up in Pierce County Superior Court Friday at 1:30 in room 217A, where they will be passing out ribbons in support of Wendy.
We're going to be handing out ribbons that we've got to show solidarity for domestic violence. And it needs
Joshua Keone Ellis, you took everything from Wendy, everything.
A family relives the nightmare of losing their daughter, Wendy Traynor, addressing her convicted killer, Joshua Ellis.
Losing my daughter has been a dagger stabbed straight through my heart.
This is not what a father should ever have to see.
The family will never forget November 10th, 2017, the day they found the 25-year-old shot to death in her New Milton apartment after they didn't hear from her. Police say her body had been there a week.
It just destroyed so many people. Our beautiful little girl is gone.
Prosecutors say Wendy had been in a troubled relationship with Ellis. They moved to Kentucky together, but Wendy tried to leave several times. The last time she left for Washington, prosecutors say he followed her across the country to find her.
I never expected this to happen or anything like this to happen. But their signs were there, and it's easy to ignore them. But to everybody out there, I'd say don't ignore those signs.
Ellis's defense said he came down to a moment of self-defense, and Wendy ended up shot. When it was time to speak, Ellis broke down.
Every day I relive that tragic event. Every day I lose my friend.
In the end, the judge said he couldn't ignore the facts.
There are two sides of Joshua Ellis, and unfortunately Wendy met the bad side of Joshua Ellis. She met the dark side of Joshua Ellis.
He sentenced Ellis to the maximum he could get, 280 months in prison, or 23 years.
At least he got the most that we could possibly get. It's never going to be enough, but at least we got that, and I appreciate that.
Tammy Mutasa, Como News.
The state of Washington versus Joshua Keone Ellis, case number 17-1-04397-6. The state has filed information charging Mr. Ellis with 1 count of murder in the state.
Court has reviewed the declaration of probable cause. We'll find that probable cause has been established. Enter plea of not guilty to all counts. Mr. Steinmetz, thank you. Ms. Proctor, thank you.
And I apologize for not being
No.
Your Honor, the next matter will be robbery.
These are all cousins, family friends, sister-in-law. The parents and brother could not.
Well, it takes a lot of courage to come to this courtroom today.
You have no idea. No idea.
Tell us what's going through in your heart.
Our hearts are shattered. We are filled with anger. It's destroyed not just our immediate family, but a very large extended family. And I just hope justice is served. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank all of you.
Come on, please.
Police have now confirmed the killing of a Gate gas station clerk in Arlington is being investigated as a murder. It happened on Merrill Road near Townsend Boulevard about 4:30 a.m. on Saturday. News 4 Jax reporter Ashley Spicer is there live. And Ashley, you spoke to a longtime friend of the clerk?
I did, Mary. In fact, he's just devastated still learning that his friend passed away. He says his concern now is the safety of every gas station worker. He thinks that there needs to be more security in place, making it safer for these clerks. Andreas Mackey has known Martin Hauer for over a decade and says he can't believe he's gone.
I started crying because it's like I just talked to him 2 days before that. You know, he's laughing and joking. Why did they kill that man? For what reason? For money? If they needed money, hell, I would have gave my money out my account, you know what I'm saying? But why did you kill the man?
Despite Hauer's hours at the gate station, Mackey says he was fearless.
Go get a job. You know, I said, well, Martin, where's somebody coming? He said, go get a job. I said, I agree with you, Martin, but we old school. We believe in going to get a job, but these people don't care these days. They shoot you for nothing.
Mackey says this incident is why clerks should be protected at work.
Me, personally, I think they should be able to carry. I think they should either have bulletproof glass or close down like some of these people close at 12 o'clock and do that, or hire JSO or armed security.
Hauer was shot in the abdomen, and although he was taken to the hospital, he didn't pull through. Gate Corporate says Hauer moved down from New York in 2007. Gates president John Payton gave us this statement in response to Hauer's death. Our hearts are broken with the passing of Martin Hauer, a long-term member of the Gate family. For more than 10 years, Martin has been a shining example of a dedicated and caring co-worker, employee, and friend. The shooter is in between 20 and 28 years old. He was wearing a black sweater and black jeans with dreadlocks. He was about 5'9". So if you were here in the area in Arlington and saw anyone that matches that description, police want you to give them a call. If anything, know you call JSO or Crime Stoppers if you would like to remain anonymous. I'm live, Ashley Spicer, Channel 4, the local station.
Ashley, is there any surveillance video that could have caught this deadly robbery?
Mary, that's a great question. So the Gate gas station does have surveillance video that they have given to JSO as the investigation goes on. JSO, however, has not given that to us yet. As soon as we receive that, though, we will, of course, put that on our air, and hopefully that could help solve this case. Mary?
All right, Ashley Spicer reporting to us live from Arlington. Thank you, Ashley.
News saying her brother should never have been on the streets.
This probably wouldn't even be happening. He would have been already locked up because they already caught him on breaking into somebody's house.
Court records show he was caught watching pornography inside a home on June 4th. He ran from police. A few days later, he was caught inside another home where police arrested him. On June 12th, he was granted a personal bond of $500 for criminal trespass, then skipped bail, missing his June 13th hearing. Detectives estimate it was just days later, on June 17th, when he and another man carjacked Clara Barna, running her over with her own vehicle, dragging her body inside her garage and leaving her to die. His sister tells us Tajon Shannon has committed other crimes as a juvenile and has been in and out of the court system.
If they would have looked and saw that he was a flight risk, he would have never been released. But they released him anyway, and then that gave him basically, he's not free will to do what he was just doing. Like, jail doesn't scare him. He got out of juvie like maybe 2-3 months ago.
Tonight, we are working to get answers about whether or not Shannon's previous record was taken into consideration when allowing his $500 personal bond.
Manatee County Sheriff's officials say one suspect was arrested with the fatal shooting of a man earlier this month. Jose Hernandez was charged today with murder and armed robbery in the death of Alexander Chirp. The second suspect, Alan Bailey, remains at large tonight. He's wanted for murder. Anyone with any information on this should call deputies. Now, this news, by the way, comes just days after the Gold Star Club of Manatee County offered a $5,000 reward in that case.
We're learning more tonight about an apartment manager that police say was shot and killed at work by a former security guard. Jeff Paul live for us tonight, the Victory Park neighborhood in Dallas, where I understand you did speak with people who were close with both the accused shooter and the victim. I cannot imagine what this must be like for them.
Well, yeah, Doug, everyone who we've spoken with tonight here at the North End Apartments are all saying the same thing. How could this happen? They weren't aware of any sort of rift between the accused shooter and the victim, and they feel that this community will likely never be the same.
2 scenes, 2 shootings, and 2 deaths. Investigators say former security guard Marlon Smith returned to the North End Apartments, shooting and killing manager Nancy Churchwell. Hours later, Dallas police caught up with Smith in East Oak Cliff. Investigators say Smith first fired at officers, and they fired back, killing Smith.
When something like this happens, it's a a huge shock. It's like an earthquake.
Yeah, for sure.
Kendrick McMahon and Rita Evans live at the complex where the shooting all started.
I still can't wrap my head around it.
Both knew Churchwell and Smith and saw them nearly every day.
She was just always friendly, always nice.
Flowers and cards were left outside Churchwell's home as family and friends remembered the energetic and thoughtful person.
Nancy was a very special person, and we're going to miss her an awful lot.
McMahon and Evans were unaware of any issues, but knew Smith was no longer working security at the complex.
It disturbs us as a community as a whole when we hire individuals to protect us and then they turn around and become the individuals that put us in harm's way or actually harm us.
Police say the suspect has a history of illegal gun and drug possession. McMahon and Evans both say that was a side of Smith they never saw.
It's just unbelievable. He always had a smile on his face. He was never grumpy or seemed angry at all.
Yeah, investigators say they are still looking into an exact motive for the shooting, but all they could tell us tonight is that the suspect used to work here.
A man is in police custody after a retired pastor is found dead inside his home. The victim has been identified as 79-year-old Arnold Gwatney of Forest City, Arkansas. Police believe Larry Watts, who lives just 2 doors down, broke into the home, killed the pastor, and stole his car before going on a crime spree. Neighbors are left trying to figure out why this happened to a man who would do anything for anyone.
If you needed him for something, he'd be there for you. Give your shirt off your back.
At this point, Watts has not been charged with the pastor's death.
27 years after an execution-style murder, one of the men convicted has been granted parole, and the victim's family is fuming about it.
Earlier this year, we told you about Brian Shepard, convicted in the deaths of 6 firefighters, getting released from prison because of a Supreme Court ruling.
As KCTV5's Betsy Webster reports, the same ruling that let Shepard get out of prison could eventually affect more than 1,000 cases nationwide. New at 9.
It was 26 years ago when Eddie Ramsey was sentenced here at the Jackson County Courthouse to life without parole for an execution-style double murder. But because of that Supreme Court ruling and his age at the time, he now qualifies for parole, and he has a release date.
It was a murder that made headlines in the papers and on our air. 2 men at an auto upholstery shop on Troost found face down, shot in their heads.
Jerry was shot first, while my brother laid there knowing what his outcome was going to be.
Eddie Ramsey was getting a soft top put on his car and came with his older cousin to pick it up.
Instead of bringing money, they brought guns and executed them.
Eddie and Ricky Ramsey were both sentenced to life without parole. Eddie was 17. Mark Weibel's son was 12 and still remembers the day he heard life without parole.
As a 12-year-old, I really thought, wow, this is good. I won't have to worry about him getting out when I'm older and being afraid of him.
But late last year, the family learned Eddie Ramsey, now 45, will get paroled in 5 years. Mark Weibel's family is upset by the U.S. Supreme Court ruling, which made the parole hearing possible, but they're even more upset with the state parole board.
Eddie's never shown any remorse.
We don't care if it's in 5 years, 20 years. He was supposed to get life.
Mark Weibel's niece is continuing to fight the parole board's decision, even though she realizes it is quite a long shot. She recently sent emails to both Governor Greitens and President Trump.
Marshall needs your help finding a man they say is the most dangerous man in Southeast Michigan.
They gave 7 Action News reporter Anne-Marie LaFlame exclusive access to a murder case and a killer roaming free who has everyone in Oakland County on edge.
The murder of Marie Colburn was horrific. A mother finding her daughter strangled and stuffed in a closet, only to find out the man police say responsible has killed before. Tonight, he's still on our streets as police work around the clock to find Kevin Wiley before he strikes again.
This guy is the worst of the worst. This guy is a guy who needs to go to jail. He's like a violent animal.
Kevin Wiley has killed before.
He has a huge criminal history.
And police say in April, while out on parole for manslaughter, Wiley killed again.
A mother comes home and finds her daughter dead in a closet.
The U.S. Marshals and the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, alongside Michigan Department of Corrections, combing the streets of Pontiac and Detroit before Wiley strikes again.
Who's going to be his next victim?
It was too late for 30-year-old Marie Colburn.
She had a beautiful laugh, beautiful smile, and a loving heart.
She was Wiley's girlfriend, found strangled in her Pontiac apartment.
This guy has no regard for your life, my life, anyone's life.
Now they're asking for your help catching Wiley before it's too late.
The information we have is this guy's on drugs and he's flopping from house to house, possibly drug houses, crack houses. We don't know, but we do know it's only a matter of time before he strikes again.
Take a good look at Kevin Wiley. He's 5'8", 185 pounds, wanted for murder while out on parole for another killing. If you see him, do not approach him and call 911 immediately. If you know where he is, call the U.S. Marshals. You can do that 24/7 at 313-234-5656. You can remain anonymous, and there are rewards being offered for each of the fugitives we're featuring this week. I'm Anne-Marie LaFlame, 7 Action News.